This is Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall. CJAD 800.
That is James MENNIE over at the Montreal Gazette. And Jim, I guess we'll start by talking about the REM. We were talking about this off the top of the show. Now, I know you what do you have the REM standing for now?
Ready, eventually, maybe.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
I have rapidly expanding mishap.
Okay,
That's
you know, this is getting weird, though, because for the longest time it seemed this was going to be the exception to the rule. But now we've had 3 delays in the past 18 months, and that includes the train. Remember we got the trains back from the factories in India and the doors wouldn't close?
Yep.
That's wacky, isn't it? But what gets me in this latest delay, guys, you know, they're I guess, widening the Mount Royal Tunnel, right? And they found, apparently, actually they set off an explosion, and they went, bang, that's a pretty big explosion. Turns out there was some leftover dynamite from like 1912 when they were blasting the original tunnel open. So I'm getting this total Yosemite Sam vibe off of that whole project. You know what I mean? It's like there's like these big sticks of dynamite flying around. And now when you consider, I mean, it's our pension fund that's being invested in this, so good luck. But the other thing is how much development now is going to be put on hold? How much of a cascade effect is this going to have? Because all these plans are being made, right? This was, if you look at the map, this is an astounding, that was $7 billion, I think, for the whole shot for that arm of it. But now that we've seen the screw-ups with the eastern expansion, and that thing's been taken over by the government, we don't know when it's going to be ready, what it's going to look like, or how much it's going to cost. The other element on top of this, of course, is that REM can also stand for requires extra money, which it will.
That's good.
Because we know with mega projects, certainly in Quebec, when you wait, if there's a 10-day delay, then, my God, the price goes up by like $500 million. Well, now, remember, the original schedule, theoretically, you guys, we should have been doing this show on a remote from one of the trains, right? This thing was supposed to be rolling by now, okay? Now they're saying 2024, maybe. At which point, when they give themselves that much wiggle room, I got to tell you, I would suggest don't make any plans to use the REM in 2024. I have a sneaking suspicion not only has this, brilliant project turned into a quickly whitening elephant, it's going to be a very, very expensive elephant to boot. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think the string of bad news on this project is not yet over.
By the way, just to kind of bring people up to speed, we talked about this, as I said, off the top of the show. There's a great graphic in the Gazette today. So the airport connection, they say now, is not even happening until 2025, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the part that will run is going to be the southern part from Brossard, like the central station. That's still on there for the end of this year.
Sorry, the airport branch, they actually say to be determined.
Yeah, but I read today they said 2025 at the earliest, I think.
I think what it really means is that you'll have a choice. You can either get on your transporter pad and beam over to the airport or use the train by the time this thing's ready.
Perfect. Okay. Good.
I'm glad you've got it all figured out.
Get a jetpack first. That'd be a lot more convenient. Okay.
Oh, good grief. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Do you want to talk about Colin Standish? We were impressed with his picture in the Gazette today. He chose a kind of funky tie and had pursed lips. What are your thoughts?
Jeez,
yes.
yeah. Okay.
And I know, actually.
To explain that, it's the first one that he's in that we were talking about this, that he doesn't have this ridiculous grin on his face.
And we're going to be speaking to him, we should say.
He looks very disapproving.
He does.
I don't know. I don't think this is going to make or break his chances of being Premier of Quebec. But listen, I know a lot of people have called the show, a lot of listeners, a lot of former politicians. Don't do this, you're going to split the vote. I'm sorry, I'm with him on this one. And I said it at from the get-go. Whether it's the Bloc Montreal or the Canadian Party of Quebec, you'll split the vote, do whatever. Yeah, but that's the system we have. And if you support what this particular government or would-be government is offering you, and you understand that, there's the odds are very long, virtually nil on us forming a government. But if this is where you want to put your vote, the idea of strategic voting, first of all, I think is the it's necessary sometimes. I guess if enough people think that the party that looks like it's going to take power is absolutely intolerable. But it also sort of suggests as well that you're still going against the tide, which is fine. Once again, that's part of democracy. I don't believe another 4 years of the Coalition Avenir Québec will do any good for Quebec. But on the other hand, with the system we have, even proportional representation, if we had it, which we never will under this government, this is it. You vote for the person that you support. And the idea that I'm going to hold my nose and I'm not going to vote for Mr. I won't vote for Mr. Worse. I'll vote for Mr. Bad. I think there's something fundamentally wrong there too. And when you consider how revolutionary the Canadian Party of Quebec's platform is, basically, those rights that you're supposed to have, you get to keep them. Okay, maybe that says more about where we are in Quebec right now than it does the Canadian Party of Quebec.
Yeah, you heard that thing from Alberta. You have a leader, a candidate for leadership running there, basically telling the federal government what François Legault is trying to do here in Quebec. Like, when I get into power, don't worry, the feds will have nothing to do here. We'll call our own shot. So I wonder if this is starting to spread.
I have been saying this for months, indeed years, ever since they began normalizing discrimination in Quebec, legalizing discrimination. What makes you think this is a made-in-Quebec phenomenon? What makes you think, and as I warned as well, right now we're talking about language rights. Right now we're talking about religious rights, okay? And right now we're talking about the Coalition Avenir Québec. What if another party wins power, and who knows how people will be thinking 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years from now, and says, there's some other rights that we believe the majority of Quebecers do not support. We're seeing the clock being wound back, certainly in the U.S. right now, various state governments outlawing a lot of things people took for granted. Mm-hmm. So if this is going to be a norm in politics, I think we should all be very careful. And at that point, I think if you vote for the party that appeals to you, that speaks to what you want to see happen in this province, well, you know what? Vote for it. And that's not just the Canadian Party. Bloc Montreal, the Liberals, whatever. Yep. Especially most of our listeners, I think we've been voting out of necessity, sometimes out of fear, and perhaps many times out of fear. But either you normalize this situation, or you basically say, well, this is how the system works, and I'm going to vote for what I believe in, as opposed to against what I'm afraid of. So, I mean, we'll see. But, and honestly, guys, I'm still convinced when we start seeing more polls in the field, and I like to think we will between now and Election Day, I think this Mount Everest of support for the CAQ and François Legault, I'm not, and I'll preface it as I always do. I have the greatest respect for Jean-Marc Léger, and Léger Marketing is one of the finest polling firms in North America. But the fact is, we are hearing not so much from Quebecers as we are from the Léger panel, much in the same way as last week we heard from the Angus Reid panel on François Legault's popularity. These are imperfect attempts to gauge public opinion. It's not truly random. And I won't go into all the technical details, but the fact is, it used to be back in the day, and that's why we don't do it anymore. People had landlines, and you could actually have a random poll. Yeah. Right now, you're getting a sampling.
Engaged, they're already.
It's not random. It's not randomized. Yeah. I know they're the first to admit it. So honestly, all this to tell you, I really think that the numbers may not be as monumental. I'm not saying he's not leading. At least
no, but it's eroding. I think it is too.
It's just my gut, too. I mean, like I say, I know a lot of people outside of the bubble, outside of the media political bubble. And, insofar, they're not, and they're francophones. And no, they're not punching their hands through walls over Bill 96 or Bill 21 for that matter. But there are other things about this government that they just don't like it. They just don't like the way they're spoken to. The paternalism is a word I hear used a lot by a lot of my francophone friends. It's like, and they remember their parents and their grandparents to talk about the village curé, basically telling people what to do because I know what's good for you and you don't. So we'll see.
I want to let people know that Colin Standish from the Canadian Party of Quebec joins us at 5:20.
Is he going to be live?
Yeah, he's going to be live.
5:20 or 5:30? I'm sorry.
Check the
5:20. My bad.
5:20. He joins us at 5:20 today.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to ask you real quick, Jim, because
Yeah.
we're going to run out of time. This decision or announcement or whatever you want to call it, projection by the PQ that were they to get into power. You know what? We want CRTC, federally chartered media, to be under our provincial control.
Yeah, and I don't understand where exactly, because the report that I saw wasn't clear. But do they mean we're going to force people? Because good luck with that. They're saying, and quite rightly, that many francophones aren't consuming Quebec content, and they're not consuming French language content. Let me say, once again, that's an indicator of where we are in the world. But thinking that you can regulate that, if there's any, you want to see people, you want to see francophones in the streets with pitchforks and torches, start messing with their Netflix.
Seriously.
Okay. I don't know. That seemed to me like pretty extreme, even for the PQ.
Well, when your odds are very, 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 very long, you can say what you want.
I guess.
Shoot for the stars.
Jim, thank you.
Adama.